Hello, Oilers fans. Welcome to the day after the Oilers 7-2 victory over the Washington Capitals. For those of you who are new or maybe unfamiliar, the day after is a series where it's pretty much as the title says. I make a video the day after an Oilers game, and I kind of discuss different talking points that I maybe didn't bring up during the post-game recap, or things I wanted to elaborate on more and then get you guys engaged as well. If this is something that you like or that you're interested in the future, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit subscribe, and let's just kind of jump right into it. So, as I mentioned, the Oilers, they beat the Washington Capitals 7-2, and for a game that didn't feel super exciting or engaging, I'm really happy that I stayed up for that game. It was a late puck drop. Game was scheduled for 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. They didn't drop the puck until almost 8:25 p.m. I'm not going to lie, I was pretty sleepy, but I'm glad I stayed awake because it was a very fun game. The crowd was absolutely electric in the third period. And Connor Brown, of course, gets his first goal as an Oiler and his first goal in 72 games. And I wanted to just mention that because I think it's super interesting that he scored his first goal in 72 games to make the score 7-2 in favor of the Oilers. I love hockey. There's always some crazy stat. Just makes me think hockey gods actually do exist. Very happy for Connor Brown. Now, I wanted to talk about Evander Kane's reaction to that goal. So, we're all familiar with Evander Kane's game. He goes hot, he goes cold. Sometimes he looks engaged, sometimes he doesn't. But what I really liked last night, and what really is like selling me on him as a good teammate right now, is his reaction to Connor Brown scoring was amazing. His excitement, his level of energy on the bench. He was more happy for Connor Brown getting a goal than if he had just scored a big like overtime winner or something. A lot of times Evander Kane, he's very stoic on the ice, very straight face, very serious. Even after he scores goals, there's not usually a whole lot of smiling going on because he knows that there's a lot more work to do. He knows that his game needs to improve. He's not always happy being put on the third line. He is very used to being a top six player, and he has been vocal about his demotions throughout the season. But what has sold me right now on him and his ability to be bought in and the engagement that he'll be at and looking for teammates and just being a good team player, he sold me last night. His reaction to the Connor Brown goal when he got him the puck and it went off of Connor Brown's leg. It's one of the ugliest goals you'll ever see. But for a first goal in 2 calendar years for Connor Brown, he doesn't care. And for Evander Kane, he's just so happy for the guy. Everyone on the bench too. Like it was amazing to see the crowd reaction. Seriously, Oilers fans, you were absolutely amazing. That crowd reaction, the standing ovation, chanting Connor Brown's name. It was it's something that I have not seen. I don't even think the crowd has chanted or stood up in an ovation like that for McDavid or Draisaitl before. And, you know, as Jack Michaels alluded to on the Sportsnet broadcast last night, there's a reason why players love to play in Edmonton because we have the best fans in the entire world. Don't listen to the negativity on Reddit and Twitter and stuff. They're still good fans, but in general, Oilers fans are incredibly positive and they want the best for this team. They want to see players succeed. And Evander Kane too last night, he was just so happy that he could be part of that. And I'm really happy that him, Brown, and Henrique are on a line. I didn't think they played an amazing game, but if there's something there, if there's some untapped potential for those three, especially Henrique and Brown. I had mentioned in the pregame report that those two played on a line together at the 2021 World Championships for Team Canada. Connor Brown led the entire tournament in scoring. Team Canada won a gold medal. I didn't know any of this. I wasn't in tune with that in 2021. So, you know, the crowd reaction, Evander Kane's reaction, Connor Brown scoring, we might have a third line that can be a huge, huge difference maker. Now, what that means is Corey Perry is now bumped down to the fourth line, but having extra depth and extra grit down in that bottom six and on the fourth line, that's not a bad thing. Carrick and Perry, I actually thought played pretty good last night. There were a few shifts where they had sustained zone time. Carrick, he's not someone that's going to come in and just be an offensive juggernaut. That's not his game. His game is face-offs, hitting guys in corners, making life miserable for defenders, and he'll pitch in every now and then on offense. I think he has 8 goals this year. But Connor Carrick, for fans worried about his production, I wouldn't be too worried. His job is not to score goals or produce. One player that I am very frustrated with is Mattias Janmark, but this is a very positive day. This is a positive video. The Oilers won 7-2. We'll get into Mattias Janmark another day, I promise. So, next thing I wanted to talk about is the Oilers power play. Last night, they went 3 for 4, and it looked great. Other than the first 2 minutes of that double minor that they had at the beginning of the first period, the next 2 minutes were phenomenal. Leon Draisaitl was just an absolute shooting machine out there. I cannot believe that he got as many one-timer opportunities as he did, and Washington just kept leaving him wide open, and he finally converted. And that top unit, they ended up converting 2 more times. I think having a guy like Evan Bouchard at the point, being able to rip the puck as hard as he can, is massive. Zach Hyman is a net front presence. This is a good power play. It went cold for a little bit. I think Bob Stauffer put out a tweet being like, hey, don't worry about small sample sizes. The power play is going to be fine. And then Edmonton goes out and scores 3 on 4 opportunities that night. So Bob Stauffer, he knows what he's talking about. And just in general with that Oilers power play, it looks like it is back. It was showing signs of life towards the end of that road trip. I felt the power play was looking a little bit better against Pittsburgh, but I'm glad it continued into tonight or last night against Washington. They scored 3 goals on it. It was a difference maker for sure because the Oilers weren't generating too much at 5-on-5. And then in the third period, they kind of locked things down. And then Stuart Skinner, he's the next guy I want to talk about. So his performance last night was unbelievable. He's going to want that first goal back because, just not a good first goal to give up. It was the first shot he had faced. And from the angle of the shot, shouldn't go in. However, I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about his saves on Alex Ovechkin. He made about 3 or 4 unbelievable saves on the greatest goal scorer the game has ever seen. And he finished the night with a .920 save percentage and 2.8 goals saved above expected. A very good night for Stuart Skinner. And in his last 6 starts, he's 5-0-1. He has a 1.62 goals against and a .943 save percentage in his last 6 starts. So he's playing phenomenal hockey. He had a bit of a tough stretch post All-Star break, but lately, the last couple weeks, he's been very, very good. He has given me a ton of confidence in Edmonton's goaltending. And then when you have a guy like Calvin Pickard who can step in the backup role, and he's given Edmonton very quality starts. I read a stat that Calvin Pickard this season, in all of his games combined, he's only given up 4 goals on low danger shots, which is actually really good. So the only way to beat Calvin Pickard is to get medium or high danger chances on him. But Edmonton is pretty good at limiting the amount of high danger chances for the most part. There's still a little bit they can clean up in their own zone. Sometimes the defensemen look like they're kind of running around. But again, that's a conversation for another day. I'm talking about the goaltending right now. The goaltending is very solid. And if the playoffs were to start today, I am confident. I'm someone that has been confident in Stuart Skinner for a while. I was really down on him back in November, but into December, January, and then February, he proved that he is a number 1 starting goaltender in the NHL. And we have to remember, too, this is his 2nd full season in the league. He is a sophomore in this league. Yes, he's been around for more years than just 2, but when it comes to his ability to be a starting goaltender, he was thrust into that role last year when he wasn't supposed to be. And then this year, he's the number 1 guy, and he has proved it. He has had a terrific season. He's now up to 30 wins on the year. He is 30, 13, and 3. Now, obviously, wins, that is a team stat. It's not just on goaltending, but he has given Edmonton a absolute ton of quality starts. I believe he's top 10 in terms of quality starts in the NHL that he provides teams. So Stuart Skinner, very good game. He absolutely robbed Ovi numerous times, and you love to see it. Next player I wanted to quickly touch on is Troy Stecher. He played his first game last night. Matthias Ekholm was out with illness. Not sure what's going on there. Hopefully he's not out too long. It's good that Edmonton has today and tomorrow off before they play late on Saturday. But Troy Stecher, he stepped in. I liked his energy. I like his skating, and I like his ability to move the puck out of the zone quickly. What kind of looked a little off sometimes was just his positioning, but he was usually out there with Cody Ceci, or I saw him out there with Desharnais a couple times. So when you have 2 right-handed players, 2 right-handed defensemen, things can look awkward, especially when you're a right-handed D playing on the left side. Sometimes it doesn't always look pretty out there. It doesn't always look super structured. And other than the 2 penalties that he took, I didn't mind his game. He didn't get a whole lot of ice time. He played just over 13 minutes last night, but I was actually happy with his game. It's hard to just be kind of put in there. It's your first game with a new team. He had 1 practice. He wasn't even supposed to play. It was kind of a last-minute decision for Ekholm to be out of the lineup. So, when it comes to game day preparation, a lot of players have these daily things that they do before a game. And it can throw players off if they're just suddenly told, like, hey, no, you got to go in tonight. I liked Stecher's game, and I am confident in him being able to step in on the right side, where he's probably a lot more comfortable should Cody Ceci or Desharnais need a night off here and there. And then Zach Hyman, want to talk about Hyman. He's at 46 goals on the season. He is tied for second in the NHL in goals. And can he catch Austin Matthews? Now, he is 8 goals behind Matthews, but Hyman, all he needs is just a couple more hat tricks here and there, and he's right back up there, right near Matthews. Wouldn't that be something after Austin Matthews' start? What was it? Matthews had 53 goals in his first 57 or 58 games this season. Just an unbelievable stat. Like Austin Matthews, terrific goal scorer. This is not to disrespect Austin Matthews, I promise. Now, a couple months ago, I put out a meme video. It was just something for fun. Hyman was tied with Matthews for goals early in the season, and I put out a video and I was like, we need to start a dialogue, and Hyman, just as good as Matthews, blah blah blah. It was obviously just for fun. But Zach Hyman this season, he's at 46 goals. He's pushing that 50 goal plateau, which is amazing to see. A guy like Zach Hyman, he deserves all of the credit in the world for how he plays. And can he catch Matthews, and can he hit 60 goals this season? Now, 60 might be a little bit more unlikely. Right now he's on pace for 58 goals, which, I mean, if he finishes in that 55, 58 range, that would make sense. If he manages to hit 60 though, oh boy. I mean, it was such a big deal when Matthews hit 60 a couple years ago, but then McDavid hit 64 last year. And then if Hyman hits 60 this year, and Pasternak had 60 last year as well. So, nobody had seen a 60 goal scorer since Ovechkin back in mid 2000s. And then if we have a guy like Zach Hyman being able to hit that 60 goal plateau, it's like, it shows that we're close to having a player that might be able to hit 70 goals one year in the NHL. That's just how skilled the league is. That's just how much offense is generated now. Very happy for Zach Hyman. I don't think he'll actually catch Austin Matthews in the Rocket Richard race, but if he did, holy smokes, that would be quite the accomplishment. That would be very exciting. And just to end the video off here, the Oilers homestand continues. Just a quick look at the teams they play in their next 3 games. They play Colorado on Saturday. That's Hockey Night in Canada at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. They play Montreal on March 19th, which I believe is a Tuesday, just looking over at my calendar. They play Montreal at 7 p.m. Montreal, Habs, Oilers games are always a blast. I wish I could be at that game in person, because you always get a ton of Habs fans, and you get the competing crowds with their chants, and it's just the energy level is always super high with Habs games. And then Edmonton finishes off their homestand against Buffalo on Thursday, March 21st at 7 p.m. Now, when I look at those 3 games, 2 of them should be wins. And obviously, I'm talking about the Montreal and Buffalo games. However, Edmonton just lost to Buffalo, so, can't take that team lightly at all. The Sabres, they do play... they make you work. They make you work for the win. Same with Montreal this season. They are not a team that is fighting for a playoff spot, but they will make you work for the win. I watched their game against Toronto last Saturday, and they gave Toronto fits all over the ice. Montreal plays a tough game, and Martin St. Louis as head coach over there, he's doing a great job with that team. That rebuild is on track. And then the Colorado game coming up this Saturday, McKinnon versus McDavid. That's one of those games where I really hope McDavid gets about 5 points and McKinnon gets 0, because I want McDavid to keep trying to claw his way into that Art Ross conversation. McKinnon, he keeps finding a way to get 2 or 3 points the same nights McDavid does. So we'll see what happens there. What did you guys think of the game last night? What did you think about my talking points today? What are your thoughts in general just on the status of the team? We're post-trade deadline. We're hitting towards that end of season, that last 20% grind to the end of the year into the playoffs? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section below. I love reading your comments. I read every single comment, and your guys' feedback is greatly appreciated. As I mentioned earlier, if you liked today's video, make sure you hit like. If you really liked it, make sure you hit subscribe, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Maybe, I'm not sure what I have scheduled to upload, but I will have something for tomorrow. So take care, and thank you so much for watching as always.